Hey yo, so IMDb people, please, you're sleeping on this. What the hell are you doing? This has a 6.8, and I know that's not as low as it can go, quite obviously. It's a rating out of 10. You can go much lower than a 6.8, but come on, for this movie, a 6.8 is so damn low. Alright, so obviously you've already read the title. I've just come back from seeing this movie called Words on Bathroom Walls, which is kind of an interesting title. I know, apparently it's based on a book. I didn't know that, but I kind of assumed, it's one of those. It seems like it would have been. Point is, no, haven't read the book, didn't have any prior knowledge to this before going in. I really didn't really know much about it at all. My wife wanted to see this. I was like, yep, but I guess. Sure. But it turns out I love this movie to death. I love this movie so damn much. It really reminded me of movies that I used to love when I was a bit younger, and still love. Like movies like It's Kind of a Funny Story, if you've ever seen that one, and a few other movies that feel kind of similar. See, this movie is very much about mental illness and mental health, and if you ask me, it does a fantastic portrayal of that. And it's up there with what I deem to be the very best portrayal of mental illness on film, being The Silver Linings Playbook. I think that this is pretty much just as high up there in that regard. This is a little bit more of a teenagey movie and stuff, so there is a bit of there's a few archetypes in there where it's the angsty teen doesn't like his stepdad and stuff like that. But even though they're kind of things we've seen before, this movie does everything really well with that stuff, and it really makes you care. And I'm not gonna lie, by the end, no spoilers or anything, but by the end things got a bit dusty in the room, and it got some kind of moisture in my eyes, and it was I don't know, there was something wrong with that cinema, I guess, because just tears started I don't know, it was weird. It was a weird thing. It seems to happen with movies like these. Coincidence. But I I do think that this was goddamn fantastic. But before I go any further into this review, can you please legitimately tell me that this dude, the guy that you're looking at right now, that this guy right here right now is not this guy from Freaky Friday? I swear that's the same guy. And he's maybe just a vampire who is not aging, and he's taking different personalities or some shit, because that's the same human. Thanks. Yeah, so this is the kind of movie that's kind of, it's very much teenage focused. It's a bit rom-com-y. There's a romance in there. There's all this kind of drama and that kind of thing. You know the kind of thing that you're going in for. It's just that everything is done so exceptionally well. I don't think that this is just any other movie like this. There was a movie that came out earlier this year, All the Bright Places. And the big issue that I had with that movie was that I felt like it really romanticized mental illness. And it really kind of just turned this real deep bad thing into something that was just kind of pretty, not that big of a deal. It's just it kind of tried to do it. It kind of tried to have that conversation and all that kind of thing. It explored those ideas, but I just felt like it didn't quite get deep enough into them. Here, I really feel like this movie really did and really nailed the tone when it came to it, because it wasn't all depressing. This was a dark movie at times. It did get deep. It did explore those themes, but it wasn't always super depressing, and it wasn't always 0 or 100. There were sort of quieter moments in there and all that kind of thing. There were moments where we could just hang out with the character a little bit, learn who he was and everything. It wasn't kind of just, I don't know, it had mental illness, but it wasn't all breakdowns. It wasn't all crazy suicide themes that feel really distasteful in that kind of sense. It wasn't all kind of, make it or break it, 0, whatever the fucking term is that you want to use here. There was some nuance to it. I also really like the kind of, this movie has got a lot of sort of animations in it and stuff, not cartoons, but it's got some CGI effects and all that kind of stuff, just to run as a metaphor for the mental illness. The character suffers from schizophrenia in the movie, and there's just there's some good depictions of this in terms of what the character sees, in terms of CGI smoke and stuff that kind of runs as a metaphor, but also the noise and the editing and how things just kind of begin to not make too much sense. It really felt like it ran true. That being said, I don't suffer from that, so like I can't fully say that, but the way that like he kind of reacted when it came to his medication, and the kind of way that he didn't want to take that medication, how he treated people, and how he kind of made this rut for himself. He kind of made it harder for himself because he felt guilty. There's just this vicious cycle of kind of self-doubt, treating people that you love, you know, not as greatly as you would want, and the character really has to deal with that. And I think that that really feels very, very relatable from mental illness and stuff that I've seen in my real life. It really rang true. I honestly, I think the filmmakers should be really proud of this film. That's all. Yeah, again, haven't read the book, so I guess probably most of the credit is due to the author of that book, but I'm here to talk about the film. That's just kind of who I am. So, yeah. Also, he sees people who don't exist. That's, you know, the main symptom of this disease, this mental illness, however you want to describe it, whatever the respectful term for that is. And he sees people who don't exist, and like it also has some fun with that. It's kind of comedic at times as well. We know that this isn't a desirable side effect or whatever the word is, a symptom of this. You know, he doesn't want to be seeing people. He feels like he's never quite alone. But I feel like it really made that understandable. It really did this in a visual way that felt like, even from somebody who hasn't suffered from it like me, like I really got it. And I feel like maybe this would be sort of an important movie for people to watch if they have people in their lives who do suffer from things like this, or even just to get rid of stigma and all that kind of thing, just from people who don't know that much about it. I feel like this did a great job of depicting that, akin to the Silver Linings Playbook in how that dealt with mental health as well. I think that was just depression, if I'm remembering correctly. Just depression. I say like it's no big deal. I just mean that's like, you know, that's the first one you think of. That's what I meant by that. I'm not sure what else to say exactly. I just thought that this was fantastic. I gave it a 5 on my Letterboxd there. Check out my Letterboxd if you want all that stuff. I rate every movie I watch. I'm trying to add every single movie that I've ever watched to it, which is a journey. It's an endeavor. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching all that stuff, and definitely see the movie because this is underrated as hell. Like, I think last I checked, this had under 1,000 ratings on Letterboxd. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it wasn't many. It wasn't like hundreds of thousands and all that kind of stuff. This is a fairly unknown movie, and I'd never heard of it before my wife mentioned that it was showing in cinemas and wanted to watch it. I'd never heard of it at all. Like, not a peep. Nothing. And I think it's one that really deserves it.